Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I am doing series that I would like to finish in 2019. I realize that it's a little bit late to be doing this because it is March, but I was trying to remember what series I had mentioned at the beginning of the year, and it turns out I mentioned all of two of them. One of which I have already finished and another which I'm hoping / planning to finish this month. So I decided for accountability purposes to make a video about it. Also, some housekeeping before we get started. My sister has started a sort of lifestyle blog. It is typical millennial adulting, and I will leave a link down below if you want to check it out. But basically it's her in Florida. As I've mentioned, my parents are in Colorado, I'm in Minnesota, she's in Florida now. So it's her in Florida figuring out how to be an adult, such as filling up your windshield wiper fluid, or filling up your oil if you're low, because she's never had to do any of that, and so it's her figuring that out, or figuring out what to do when she gets an ear infection and doesn't want to go to the doctor. That kind of stuff. She's a very dry, sarcastic sense of humor, which makes sense because she is my sister. And yes, I'm biased, but I also think her articles, episodes, whatever you want to call them, are brilliant. She also does a lot of baking. She is vegan, partially by choice, partially not. And so she has a vegan part of her blog as well, where she posts pictures of the food that she makes and tips, etc. So if you would like to check that out, like I said, I'll leave a link down below. But now, let's get to why you're here, the books. The first one is the Everless series by Sarah Holland. This is set in a world where a person's blood can be turned into currency, and the currency is time. So rich people have a lot more of it than poor people do because poor people have to sell off their time to eat. I enjoyed the first book, and I have the second one. It came out in December of last year, late December, but I haven't read it yet. At the moment there's only the 2 books out, so this one shouldn't be too hard to finish, but it is on my list. I have Second Born by Amy A. Bartle, which I've read the first one. I read it in July of last year, but I have not read the second one, and I think there's a third out and a fourth on the way. That sounds right. Could be wrong. Anyway, so I'd like to finish this one, which is set in a society where firstborns rule, secondborns are the property of the government, thirdborns are not tolerated, and long live the Fates Republic. First one was not as good as I wanted it to be. It wasn't, but it started to get better towards the end of the first one, so I decided to continue on with the series. Problem being that it's been 7 months, and I just need to get to it. Then I have Princess of the Silver Woods by Jessica Day George. I own 6 + 4 is 10. 10 books of hers, and this series is, I think, sort of a fairy tale retelling series. There are 4 books. I know I enjoy her stuff. I just haven't read these for whatever reason, so I would like to start and finish the 4 books in this series this year. Then I would like to finish A Crown for Cold Silver by Alex Marshall. I read this one, the first one, a couple years ago now, a year and a half, and I liked it. It was very militaristic, so it took a little bit of adjustment, but I enjoyed it. I now own the second one here. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet because, again, other books, guys. But I know that Pierre Ford really enjoyed this series, so I assume that I will enjoy it as well, because as far as fantasy goes, she has really good taste. But this I would like to finish, and it's only a trilogy, so there's only 2 more books. Next, I would like to finish the Shattered Realms series. This is the second book because the first one is Orange and Back in Colorado. But I'm getting all of my books in July, guys. I have a date. It's very exciting. By Cindy Williams Chima. This series can only be read after the Seven Realms novels, because if you start this one without reading the next ones, you will be so confused. It's not even funny. So I'd like to finish this one. Deathcaster just came out a week ago, and I'm incredibly excited to get to it, but I have 6 other books that need finishing before I can let myself start another new book. I don't know how many books are in this series. I know there are 4 out right now, so there might be a 5th, there might not, but either way, I'm going to finish whatever is out of this series. We have Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. Read the first one, own all 4, and I'm hoping / planning on finishing this series in March. They're fairly short books, so it shouldn't take me that long, but these are a science fiction series, and that's about all I got. They're fighting a war. It's set in space. What more can I tell you? And then we have Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes. At the very least, I own the first 4 books, I've read the first 2, so I will get through the next 2, and that'll bring me up to book 4, or through book 4 up to book 5. If I find cheap versions of the last 2, I will buy them and then I will finish the series. But at the very least, I'm going to get up to book 5 in this series this year. One is a YA Game of Thrones, apparently. And then I have The Tiger's Curse by Kari-ng. This is about a girl who finds some tigers, and it turns out that they are Indian princes? That sounds right. Who have been cursed to be tigers. I don't see how it's a curse to be a tiger, but that's just me. Anyway, so she has to go and help save them. There are, again, problematic elements in this, which when I started the series I didn't recognize because I was still a very sheltered person who lived in a Wonder Bread Whites village, town, whatever you want to call it, and didn't know that these things existed. I do now, however. There's 5 books, I've read 4 of them, so I would like to finish the series. And then the last one I'm going to mention is Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian, and technically this would be starting and finishing. I've not read Ash Princess, but I have the second one, which is Lady Smoke, because that came out in January. February? One of the two. And February, it definitely came out in February. But this one is about a princess whose family is killed and she's kept around as a trophy, and sort of a reminder to her people to say, don't screw up or we'll kill her, which seems like a once in a lifetime kind of a shot. You know, you gotta save it for a really big screw up, like a revolution or something, but if you lose the revolution it doesn't matter. Anyway, I digress. She decides she's gonna fight back using the only thing she has, which is her intelligence. I like the cover, I like the premise, and I would like to get to the second one, which I also own. So I'm gonna read both of these books one of these days. Those are many of the series that I would like to finish, or start and finish, this year. If you've read any of these or have thoughts, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.